Today we're diving into a personality type that is so often misunderstood, the quiet observer. Now, we're not just talking about someone who's shy or withdrawn. No, these individuals are strategic architects of information. They operate with a very specific system that gives them a unique and usually unseen advantage in pretty much any social situation. So, let's go ahead and uncover their secrets.
This quote right here, it cuts straight to the heart of the paradox we're exploring. I mean, we live in a world that rewards talking, right? Broadcasting our thoughts, fighting for the spotlight. So how can silence possibly be the ultimate source of power? Well, we're going to unpack the science behind why the quietest person in the room is, more often than not, the most dominant one.
Just think about it for a second. You've been there, right? A meeting, a party, maybe even a family dinner. There's always that one person who just hangs back. They don't jump in, they don't volunteer stories, and their silence, it creates this kind of social vacuum, doesn't it? You might find yourself talking more, almost compulsively, just to fill the space, trying to get any kind of reaction. Well, that feeling, it's not an accident. It is the very first clue that a completely different kind of social game is being played.
So let's break this whole thing down. Why do we feel this weird compulsion to just babble around a quiet person? Well, it's because their silence is strategically creating what we can call an information gap. And it's a fundamental mismatch in social strategy that I promise you, once you see it, you're going to see it everywhere.
Here's the core conflict. For most of us, social interaction is all about broadcasting. We want to be seen, we want to be liked, we want to be understood. We output information to build our identity. But the quiet observer, they flip that script entirely. Think of that quiet CEO who lets an entire team debate an issue before they make the final call. Their biological priority isn't to be seen, it's to see. Their goal is pure data acquisition. They're not there to perform, they're there to learn.
And what this creates is a really powerful state called information asymmetry. It just means they know your opinions, your stories, your insecurities, but you know next to nothing about them. The best metaphor for this? It's like a one-way mirror. You're on one side, looking at your own reflection, just talking away completely transparent. Meanwhile, they're on the other side of the glass, totally hidden, observing everything. It is a masterful, tactical defense.
And you can really see the mechanics of that one-way mirror right here. On one side, you have the broadcaster. High output, lots of talking, but notice, very low input. We're so focused on putting stuff out there that we're not really taking much in. Now, look at the quiet observer. They have completely inverted this. Their output is minimal, but their input, it is maxed out. They are absorbing every single detail, while the rest of us are busy performing.
And get this isn't just a psychological preference, it is a neurological reality. When you're broadcasting, your brain is burning a ton of energy in what's called Broca's area. That's the speech production part. But the observer's brain is making a much more efficient deal. It saves that energy and sends it over to the temporoparietal junction. Now, this part of the brain is responsible for what scientists call theory of mind. It's literally the ability to map out what other people are thinking and feeling. So they're not just hearing you, their brain is actively building a 3D model of your mind.
So if this is a deliberate strategy, what does the system actually look like? Well, it's called the surveillance shield loop. It's a really specific 4-step process that lets the observer methodically achieve this state of, information dominance. The best way to think about it is to imagine them as a biological recording device. The moment they walk into a room, they hit record. But this isn't just passive listening. Oh no, it's an active, repeating process designed to maximize their input while building this incredibly strong defensive shield around themselves. Let's see how the loop actually builds.
Okay, here's the loop in action. First up, input maximization. By staying quiet, they create that social void we talked about, that vacuum that other people feel an almost primal need to fill with chatter. Next is pattern recognition. Their brain starts mapping everything, simulating your emotions, detecting your ego, figuring out the hidden power dynamics in the room. Then comes the masterstroke, the disclosure block. If you try to ask them a personal question, they'll expertly turn it right back on you. That's an interesting question. What makes you ask that? And just like that, the spotlight is back on you. Their shield is untouched. And the result of all this? Observer dominance. They've got the full data set on everyone in the room. And because they haven't committed to anything, they have maximum strategic flexibility.
This quote just nails the end result, doesn't it? By running this loop, the quiet observer becomes this ghost in the machine. They have a massive advantage because they've basically seen the source code of the group. They know the vulnerabilities, the motivations. It's like they have the password to each person's psyche, all while their own remains completely encrypted.
But why? You got to be asking, why would a brain even choose this path? Why become a spectator instead of a player? Well, the answer isn't about being antisocial, it's about survival. This entire behavior is rooted in some of our oldest, most primal instincts.
The core driver here is a principle called vulnerability conservation. Basically, for the quiet observer's brain, there's a deep foundational belief always running in the background. Social exposure equals danger. Every single piece of information they reveal is seen as a potential weapon that could be used against them. So the default strategy is always to conserve vulnerability.
And, from a survival perspective, this state is incredibly efficient for their brain. Think about it. In our ancestral past, the loudest person was often the first to get challenged. By staying quiet, the observer avoids being the first target. It's also a metabolic bargain. It's just biologically cheaper to listen than to speak. This keeps their stress hormones low, while yours might be spiking. And all the while, their brain's threat detector, the amygdala, is in a state of hypervigilance, just constantly scanning for any risk.
So ultimately, it's a trade-off. Their brain is choosing tactical superiority over social warmth. They would rather be respected, maybe even a little feared for their mystery, than liked for their openness. But here's the problem. In our modern world, this ancient survival strategy can really backfire, because being known is often the only real path to being trusted and truly connected. So that's the big question, right? How do we bridge this gap? How do we move from this dynamic of surveillance and defense to one of genuine connection? Well, whether you are the observer or you're the one interacting with them, there are some really powerful tools you can use to change this entire game.
Okay, first up, if you recognize yourself as the quiet observer, this tool is for you. It's called the controlled leak. And the key realization here is that total, absolute silence doesn't just make you mysterious, it can make other people feel judged, hunted, or even unsafe.
A controlled leak is actually really simple. You just consciously decide to share one small, low-stakes, humanizing detail about yourself. It doesn't have to be a deep secret, it could be your opinion on a movie, a quick story about your weekend, whatever. What this does is it gives the room a kind of password to access you. It sends a signal that you're not a threat, and it can instantly transform that feeling of being watched into a feeling of trust.
Now, let's flip the script. If you're the one dealing with the quiet observer, the one doing all the talking, this tool is for you. It's called the Mirror Query, and it's designed to gently and respectfully break through their shield and level the playing field.
Here's how it works. Step 1, and this is the most important, stop talking. You have to break the pattern of you filling the silence. Then, make some direct but gentle eye contact. And then, you ask a very specific, respectful question like this one. You've been listening so intently, I'd love to know what your internal map of this is. This phrasing is just brilliant because it acknowledges their process, it respects their intelligence, and it invites them to share their valuable data without putting them on the spot. You're not just asking, what do you think? You're asking to see the complex picture they've been building this whole time.
The purpose of both of these tools is exactly the same. It is to consciously shift the dynamic away from surveillance, where one person is watching for threats, and move it toward empathy, where people are actually listening to connect. It's about turning that recording device back into a human being.
And this, right here, is what it all boils down to. If you're the observer, gaining your power means realizing your silence is a tool you can choose to use, but it doesn't have to be a cage that isolates you. And for everyone else, understanding this means you can see their silence not as a personal rejection, but as a strategic choice, one that you can now engage with.
So, we'll end with this thought. The loudest person in the room is almost always the most predictable. It's the quietest one who holds the most information. But true power isn't just in observation. It's in knowing the precise moment when speaking a single sentence can change everything. Because the deepest water really does make the least noise.